of a puzzle in your head. Never get to sleep when you're in bed.
So, as a bit of a follow-up to my previous video, which was entitled, What Do You Really Want? Check it out if you're curious. One of my longer videos. This one is more along the lines of what do you really need? So once we can discern, decide what it is that we really want, which has to do with our sole purpose, but it doesn't have to be that complex. It doesn't have to be some highly idealistic thing such as your meaning of existence. We tend to take a lot of these ideas far too seriously and pressure ourselves and torture ourselves and torment ourselves with, why am I not happy, or why am I not living my real thing? How am I ever going to be free to pursue insert desire, sole purpose, reason for existence here? And it plays into the idea of what do we really need, because it's the other side of that coin, essentially, want and need. And a lot of our needs are, well, in general, you could argue they're fabricated, manufactured, ideas inculcated through our experience in a particular society or culture, ideas inspired and injected by those around us, modeled and mentored through the people who were our parents, people and influences and experience we have in a life through the teachers and guides and everyone that comes along our path. Our needs are imposed upon us and beaten into us, perhaps depending on our family situation or belief structure or religion, spiritual practices, priorities and values, of course, that are not necessarily foisted upon us, but certainly impressed upon us, right? And can directly influence our decision making for an entire lifetime. So what do we really need is probably another question we want to be asking frequently. And is this need real? Is it perceived? Is it fictitious? Is it based on some missing information? Is it based on someone else's idea of what's important and should be prioritized, etc., etc.? And we need to ask it of all significant and important parts of our lives. What do we need in relationships? What do we need in love? What do we need in income? What do we need regarding quality of life or lifestyle? What do we need for housing? What kind of food do we need? What kind of training do we need to pursue what we asked previously regarding what do we really want? What do we need to remind ourselves daily about how we're measuring our success, our failures, our learning, our particular journey spiritually, philosophically? What do we need to add more of into our life, whether it's a different kind of community to live in, a different kind of environment, a different geographical location, if we prefer a different kind of climate where our body and our senses seem to thrive and feel healthier, expressing, and more time. Like for me, I prefer the coastal temperate climate, so I'm access to year-round green and nature and trees and forests and trails and average temperatures. It's never too hot, never too cold. I'm not one for winter sports or anything like that, so I don't need ice and snow, and what we get here is minimal. So for me, that works. That's for my particular set of priorities and values regarding location, geography, climate, and the kind of environment that I prefer to have access to on a daily basis. But it's also more than that. Do you prefer the noise and the lights and the perpetual noise of a city, which also has, of course, availability and resources and access to all of the amenities and more immediate access to conveniences and the important things, depending, of course, on what you want, what you're pursuing as far as your purpose, greater purpose is concerned, access to training facilities, access to people, experts, professionals, mentorships, apprenticeships, that kind of thing. Is that available, or do nowadays we can do a lot of things online through Zoom and such, but there's nothing that replaces in-person type training and mentorship and apprenticeship and hands-on and in-person feedback. So to be able to measure your progress more accurately and to be able to actually feed off the energy of a room, of a place, of an environment, of a facility for your particular interest and training, whether it's education or what have you. So what is it that you need to be able to express yourself? What kind of tools might you need to invest in? What kind of technology might be useful? What kind of tools beyond the mechanical or technological could be useful? If you're hands-on and want to get into a trade, what kind of tools might you need to borrow or invest in? What kind of facilities might you need to build or modify your home to be able to accommodate? How can you address and satisfy those particular needs so that you can lean into what it is that you want, lean into your purpose and your career or vocation? And of course, these things can overlap, right? What is it that you need regarding scheduling and time and the freedom to be able to pursue what interests and what satisfies your soul? What do you need from those closest to you? What kind of communication is required? What do you need to set as far as boundaries and personal space? And what do you need to have others perhaps understand, and to within yourself to understand where you might need to accommodate or compromise, or how might you need to better communicate your needs to those around you, to those you care about, to those you are caring for perhaps. And if you have children, of course you have to establish healthy rules, boundaries, parameters, dependent on your situation, your beliefs, and your priorities, of course. What do you need from them? What might they need from you? Do you understand their particular needs? Are you able to communicate in a real and authentic way, to just lay everything out there so that you can, that both parties can be satisfied, and dealing with the inconsistencies and the conflicts when they arise and the contrasts in your particular lifestyles, priorities, values? What do you need to do, to be, to say, to consider, or to learn about, to be able to expand your capacity for better communication, to better convey your needs, and to better understand within yourself what is an actual real need versus what is a perceived ambiguous need that you don't really have any clarity about, and you're just making up or projecting some sort of a need which isn't real, which is just a fabricated compensatory or coping mechanism. What is the real need as opposed to the imagined need? We live in a society in the modern world wherein much of the, as I've discussed in a previous video and numerous videos really, these manufactured crises, large and small, they get the idea with these centralized messaging and narrative control systems. Quite literally, social engineering and mind control can put seeds and ideas and doubts and narratives into your mind, into your perceptive framework, into your, quite literally, into your identity, these ideas and attachments that you create and manifest and proliferate and maintain. These ideas that are put upon you, that you take into yourself and adopt as part of you. A lot of them can be, of course, artificially induced, manufactured personal crises, identity crises, these things that are manufactured out of nothing on a societal level to manipulate citizenry, to manipulate consensus thinking and the mob rule mentality, to manipulate a particular society or culture into a certain direction or belief system. So how many of these ideas do you ever criticize or scrutinize, right? How often do you need to take a step back from everything that you assume to be real and true, and to re-examine these ideas and beliefs and priorities that are put upon you by something outside of you, such as the government or institutions that you rely on, whatever it might be, your church or other organization, NGOs, anything. There's multiple levels and multiple layers to these things. So again, it's to discern and reduce things down to real needs as opposed to manufactured and fabricated needs. And like anything else, it's just getting to that place of what is authentic, real, and true. And usually it's the simplest things which can be perceived as quite complex and complicated. But ultimately, truth is very simple, and it doesn't need an intermediate. It doesn't need an interpreter, as I've discussed. What's real and true will resonate, will ring within you. You'll feel it, you'll know it, you'll sense it once all the noise is set aside and subdued, not suppressed, but dispelled and temporarily mitigated so that you can learn to hear your still small voice. You can hear that truth rise up from within, where all ultimate knowledge and wisdom comes from. It doesn't come from without. From what you're sensing and picking up from the world around you is information. It's ideas, it's data, but it's not truth and wisdom. True knowledge has to be synthesized and summoned from within. So as we can see that the question of what do I really need is certainly integral to the idea of what do I really want. And they're big questions. These are important questions. These are identity shaping, paradigm shifting notions. These are the ways that we reframe and reclaim and reconcile our reality, our notions of what's real, our notions of what's meaningful, and of course, deriving our purpose in this life. So it should be from an empowering mindset that we approach this. It should be from a place of anticipation, engagement, excitement, to get to better know your truth, yourself, to get to better appreciate what is authentic and true about you. What do you really need? Have a good one.